Hello, my beautiful people. Welcome back to the Moments Podcast and Happy New Year. It's really hard for me to process that it is like 2022 because I think that part of me is still stuck living in like 2014, 15, 16, and 17. But we are so far from that, it's actually mind blowing. This year is also kind of a blur, but it was also the best year of my life, and some moments of it were like the worst moments of my life. So I don't even know where to start. I honestly don't want to spend this episode doing too much reflecting on 2021, even though I just filmed the 20, can I speak English? No, not really. The 2021 montage video, so it's like so fresh in my mind right now, but if you want to go watch that, I'm really proud of it. I edited it for like 12 hours, and I'm not normally good at editing things, so, you know, be patient with me, but it's really cute, and it's on my YouTube. It's also on my Instagram. But I would really love if you guys watched that, if you wanted to. Anyways, I'm so glad that you're here. I'm so glad that we're back. We're starting out 2022 with a nice new episode, and I want to talk about New Year's resolutions. There's such a stigma behind them. It's like we all have these crazy set New Year's resolutions to like change the person that we are, and that's how I've done them for the past years. But this year, I think that my biggest New Year's resolution, my biggest goal, is to not spend so much time trying to figure out how I can change myself, but rather how I can figure out how to evolve myself, grow myself, develop myself, figure out how to create a better version of me without setting these goals that change who I am. Like, for example, a goal that I've set almost every year except this one is to lose weight, or to look better, or to get a six pack, or to get a big butt. And obviously, I still want to get a big butt and have a six pack. I'm not going to make that the goal. Rather, I'm going to make being active the goal, or taking time to work out, or making sure I sweat a few times a week. Goals that aren't necessarily about the outcome, but rather the process. Because the process is where it all really is. When we're so focused on the outcome, I talked about this a little bit in the last episode, but when we're so focused on the outcome and we dread the process the whole entire time, when you finally do get to that outcome, you finally do get that reward, it doesn't feel rewarding. It feels like it was supposed to happen. I don't know how to explain it. When you enjoy the process and something really good comes from it, it feels good. It feels like you worked for it, and it feels like you just feel proud of yourself. But when you just do it for the reward comes, and then you're like, okay, good, that's exactly what was supposed to happen. It's just a whole different feeling. And I don't know how I'm explaining it, but if you've experienced it, you know the exact feeling that I'm talking about. And that is something that I'm really trying to avoid this year because it doesn't feel good. And I want to spend this year feeling good. I think that we all do. It's been the past 2 years. What the heck has happened in the world? Literally a global pandemic and so many other crazy things. I can't even think about everything that's happened this year. But along with all the crappy stuff that's happened, we've also all made some very good memories, I'm sure. I know that quarantine sent a lot of us stuck home with our families, and in the beginning we dreaded it, but I honestly got a lot closer with my family during that quarantine, and I'm so grateful for it. But honestly, that's all the way back in 2020. Let's get back to 2022. Sorry, it's a little early in the morning, and I keep getting a little bit distracted. This week has been so crazy. It was Christmas, and then it was my birthday, and then it was New Year's Eve, and I looked at the date yesterday, and I was like, oh my god, it's Saturday. And then I was like, oh crap, I have to record in the morning. And I had to record in the morning because my awesome, beautiful, amazing friend Sam, who edits through the podcast for me, she's like, she has something at like 2 o'clock today. So she only has a couple hours in the morning to edit. Anyways, you guys don't even need to know all of that. I'm just explaining to you why my brain is kind of fuzzy. But I'm super excited to really just dig into this episode. And also, don't forget to follow the podcast on Spotify. Go leave a rating on Apple Podcasts. Whatever you guys want to do. If you haven't done it, I would appreciate it if you did. One of my really big goals this year is to grow this podcast. And I say this all the time, but make it more than a podcast. Make it more of like a community and have opportunity and just make it something that inspires people. And you guys are all a part of that. So I appreciate you more than anything. But anyways, let's get into the outline I wrote out. I wrote it all kind of sloppy, but first thing I have written down is journal this year. And when I say that, I mean it. I started journaling towards the end of this year. I was always one of those people who acted like I journaled. I would randomly write things in my notes like once a month. And don't get me wrong, that is still journaling. But something I've noticed is that when I'm consistent with it, and when I write things down every day, no matter what it is, or I do a journal prompt, or whatever it is, I feel so good. I feel like everything that I write down has meaning. And in a way, for me, it gives my life meaning. And that's just something personal. And I don't know if that's how it's going to happen for everyone else. But journaling is very powerful. When we write down our thoughts, we visualize them. And it has so much more power versus just thinking things over and over again. For example, if you're someone who wants to start manifesting things and speaking things into existence, if you just think about it all the time, you'll notice it doesn't have the same effect. If you go in your notes app or you write down on a piece of paper what you will accomplish and who you are, you will find yourself becoming that person a lot sooner than you think. And I learned that from personal experience. I'm not just saying this, guys. I don't know if you remember me telling you about the one journal exercise that I did, but if you're going to take anything away from this episode, this is what I want you to do. I want you to do this journaling exercise. Okay, so the day that you're listening to this is going to be January 3rd, 2022. So I want you to pull out a notebook, go in the notes of your phone, wherever it is you want to write it, and you're going to title this prompt journal January 3rd, 2023. And what you're going to do is pretend that this year has already happened. And you are going to write down in the present tense what your life is like. For example, I did this in August, and I did it for a year from that point. And in there, I wrote down, I just bought a van. I'm looking at houses. I'm buying a house. I started a podcast. I'm recording an episode tomorrow. And I literally get chills thinking about it. I haven't even been able to go back and read the journal entry because it's just so long and it's so emotional. And it's crazy to see how much of it has already come true. And it's been like 4 months, 5 months since I wrote it. But what you do is basically visualize the best version of yourself, the best version of your life, and you write it down like it already happened. And it just gives you this sense of like internal motivation, and something turns on inside of you, this drive that you didn't even know that you had for something, but when it's written down, it's just there. And it stays there. And if you're someone who needs the reminders often, you can go back and read that journal prompt throughout the year. You can do whatever you want. But I want you to do it because I didn't think it was going to be so powerful. I thought it was just going to be this fun little thing I saw on TikTok. It wasn't. I cried while I wrote it. I cried just thinking about how crazy it is that everything I wrote down is happening right in front of my eyes. Speaking things into existence is legit. If you don't believe it, you don't have to believe it. But I'm telling you, it's very, very, very real, you guys. When I wrote down that I had a podcast, I was nowhere near having a podcast. I hadn't even really thought about it much. I was just like, you know what, that's something I want to have in my life in the near future. And here we are, 12 episodes later, all because I wrote down in my notes app, I'm going to have a podcast. Same thing with the van, you guys. I wrote down that I'm going to have a van, and a couple weeks later, I'm watching through my Instagram stories and see someone selling their van. Boom, I'm sitting in the van right now. So take my advice on that one. Do the journal entry, okay? Write down things about your day. Write down things that make you happy. Write down cute moments with your friends. Write it all down. Anyways, also, I just got the 5-minute journal. I don't know if you guys have heard of it. They sell it at Urban Outfitters, and if you're not someone who wants to like think about prompts all the time, it's a really good start, and I just got it, so I don't know. You might love it too. The next thing I want to talk about for this year is to please, please, please go easy on yourself. Be kind to yourself. Your New Year's resolutions, your goals and dreams will not happen overnight. And you have to be aware of that if you ever do want them to come true. You have to give yourself grace. You have to roll with the punches because life is going to throw some seriously rotten lemons at you, and you're still going to have to make lemonade. And the only way to make lemonade out of rotten lemons is to just make it work and accept that you're going to learn something from the bad times. And that everything that happens to you in this life is either going to be a lesson or a blessing, but in the end, it's all blessings. I promise you. And also, moving into this year, please learn to enjoy the process. Instead of investing yourself in the outcome, like I talked about a few minutes ago, you have to invest yourself in the process. The outcome is not what's important. What's important is how you make meaning of your life and what you make of the good, the bad, and the ugly. Guys, this year, I want you to be positive. You know, on my podcast, I do a lot of talking about mental health and kind of the shitty stuff, excuse my language, that we go through in life. And all the time, my dad's like, why don't you do something upbeat and happy and like talk about the good stuff? I'm like, you're right. I should. And then I also have moments where I'm like, okay, yes, but so many of us are going through stuff that isn't really talked about, and like we don't even understand that we're feeling. So I like to talk about that just to like make us all feel a little bit less alone. So I don't really know exactly where I was going with that, but you guys get the point. I want us to all be positive, and I want us to all continue to focus on how much beauty is around us and to just genuinely release the elephant on our shoulders that is like trying to tell us what's wrong with ourselves or what's wrong with the world. Like, kick it off. Get rid of it. When you just find the peace with where you are, things around you are more beautiful. When you don't take the silly things for granted. The things like being able to walk, being able to breathe, being able to go to the bathroom on a toilet in your house. The fact that your parents might annoy the crap out of you sometimes, but you have your parents to annoy the crap out of you. This year I want to be grateful and I want to be appreciative. And in a lot of cases, I consider myself to be a very grateful and like appreciative person. But I think that mentally, I take a lot of stuff for granted because I get a little bit too caught up in what isn't working out, and I want to let go of that this year. So me and you both can make that a goal. That being said, we've all made mistakes. We've all done things that we wish we didn't do. And if you think that you've never made a mistake or you've never once been a bad person in your life, then I need you to sit with yourself and reflect for a second. Because there's a chance that you have. And I don't mean that in a bad way. It's not bad to make mistakes. It's the only way we learn. If we were all perfect all the time, we wouldn't learn anything. But what I need you to do is learn how to forgive yourself. Forgive your past self. When we focus on trying to be present and trying to be in the moment, if we're dwelling on who we used to be or who we want to be, we're not going to be able to be present. We might think that we are, but subconsciously we're still focused on some mistake from the past or some grudge that we're holding on to from the past. And it won't physically be possible to be where your feet are. One of my favorite quotes is "be where your feet are." And I remember one time I posted it as a caption on Instagram and everyone was like, what does this mean? What do you mean? Like, this is so stupid. And I was like, okay, true. I didn't explain it. But being where your feet are just means when you have your feet on the ground, that is the moment that you're in. You're not in a moment from 2 years ago. You're not in a moment a week down the road. If you're super anxious about something for the future, no. You are where your feet are. That is the moment that you are in, and that is the moment that you need to focus on. Forgive yourself for the past and be able to sit with this version of yourself. Even more than forgiving the past version of yourself, be grateful for her. She taught you what you know now. Or he. I don't know who's listening to this. It's mostly my girls, though. And to be completely honest with you, since this week has just been so crazy, I haven't had a chance to sit down and write down my resolutions or journal. And that's what I'm going to do today. I wanted to do it before I recorded, but I had to record in the morning. We already went over that. But while I was making this outline, I just wrote down a couple things. The first things that came to my mind, and obviously these aren't going to be super deep because I haven't really sat down and been deep yet, but I don't know if you can take anything away from them. Maybe you can, maybe you can't, but I'm going to go through them one at a time. And if you want to write them down, take whatever you'd like. The first thing I wrote down, the first thing that's been in my mind for a while now, is to stay true to myself. I found myself, while I was making my 2021 montage, looking back through all my photos of who I was last January. And last January is right when I started making social media more of a job and less of a just hobby. Because since quarantine, a lot of you guys have followed me since quarantine. That's when I really started, I guess you could say, blowing up. All my videos started doing well. And I was doing it for fun. I was filming everything I was doing, and I was literally just being myself on TikTok and Instagram. And then September, October, November, December, January come around, and I realized that I can make it a job, and I can make it my business, and I can create something more from it. So what I did was I started following trends. I started wearing things that other people were wearing. I started trying to blend in with all the other influencers. Saying that out loud just makes me cringe, but again, I'm forgiving the past version of myself, and I'm just appreciating her. But what I did was just try to grow in a way that everyone else was growing. And I definitely lost sight of myself in that. I mean, even my style. I was trying to do the whole street style thing because I love that style, but that's not me. That's not me. I need overalls, Converse. That's it. Not leather pants or booties. And I was having all these photo shoots in the parking garage just because that's what it seemed like everyone else was doing at the time. And looking back, I think that this year really, really taught me to stay true to myself and to be authentic and to be real, no matter what people have to say. Because people are always going to have something to say. And you just have to stop giving a crap. Seriously. So, 2022, I am doing what makes me happy. Not doing what makes other people happy. Because I'm the one I got forever. And that's that on that. The next one I wrote down is to keep creating. I love nothing more than taking pictures. And no, seriously, I think that that's my number one passion in the world is just taking pictures and taking videos and documenting moments. And I'll find myself sometimes feeling like maybe I don't need to record everything because sometimes people will roast me and be like, can't you just live in the moment? For me, living in the moment is documenting everything. And I think that that was all the way at the top of my list because I just created that 2021 montage and it was so emotional for me to make because I just realized that it is worth it to take videos all the time and to document every single thing that I do because I can create so much with it. And there is a lot I have planned this year. As far as, I guess you could say creating content. For a while when I thought about creating content, I thought vlogs, what everyone else is doing. YouTube the same way everyone else is doing, Instagram the same way everyone else is doing, TikTok the same way. No. We're not doing that anymore. We're staying true to myself and I'm creating what I'm passionate about. And I want you to do the same thing. If you're passionate about something, that's what you need to do. And I know that these podcasts get a little bit repetitive. We need things to be repeated to us. And I've repeated that so many times. But sometimes you got to hear it 57 times before it just clicks. Do what you're passionate about. Do what makes you happy. The next thing I have written down is wake up early. I've found myself struggling a little bit lately. to get up early because I don't even know if you'd call it insomnia. I just get sucked into my phone and my brain gets super creative in the late night hours, and I don't end up going to bed until 3 or 4 o'clock in the morning. And then it's impossible to wake up before like 9:30 or 10. And that's not even that bad. There was a point when I was really, really not doing so well mentally, and I was sleeping until like 11 or 12. And I've realized that I gain the most energy from waking up very early. Honestly, doesn't even matter what time I go to bed. And obviously that's different for everyone. We all need different things. Some of us like to go to bed earlier and wake up later. It doesn't matter. Whatever works for you is what you got to do. But for me personally, I like to wake up early because that's what gives me the most energy for the day. I also have stay hydrated. There was a point this year I was so hydrated. It was right when I got my Hydro Flask. But anyways, lately I've been slacking on that. So if you need a reminder to go drink some water right now while you're listening to this, if you can, go get a bottle of water. Drink the whole thing. We all need water. It's good for our skin. It's good for our body. It's good for our digestive system. It's good for our brain. Just drink your water, okay? The next one I have is be patient. Talked about this a little bit already, but just be patient with yourself. Roll with the punches that life is going to throw at you. It's not going to make sense all the time. Even when you have the most optimistic, positive mindset, there's going to be moments you're like, why the F word did that just happen? That was not part of the plan. And it's going to hurt for a second, but allow yourself to be patient with it. To know it's going to pass. To know that again, can't speak English. The grass is always greener on the other side. Sometimes the hike up is a little bit longer than other times. And that's okay. The next one I have written down. Be motivated. And be motivated towards something that you actually are motivated about. We can't force ourselves to be motivated about something that we have no desire to do or to accomplish. Don't be motivated for what other people need. Be motivated to accomplish what it is that you want to accomplish. The rest will follow. I promise that if you do what makes you happy, the people around you who truly love you and truly support you and are satisfied with their own lives are going to be happy for you. And that's what they're going to want to see you do. The people who don't, the people who are going to try to tear you down, are the people who have a lot of work to do for themselves. And it's not a bad thing. We're all on different schedules in this world. Some people take a little bit longer to realize that they're the ones that are hurting. And they're the ones that need to get help. And it's not a bad thing at all. But just know that, moving forward, the people around you who are happy are going to be happy for you no matter what you're doing. Trust me. And sometimes it takes a second, but that's okay. The next one I've written down is just keep the pressure off yourself. Don't put so much pressure to accomplish something at a certain time. And that's really all I got to say about that one, because I feel like it kind of connects to everything else that I've said. So you get the idea. The next one I have written down is prioritize therapy. I freaking love therapy. And I will go over this in every single episode if I have to, but there is nothing wrong with admitting that you need to talk to someone. In my eyes, it's a sign of strength. Which is why this podcast is sponsored by BetterHelp Online Therapy. We talk about BetterHelp a lot on this show, and this month we're discussing some of the stigmas around mental health. I talked about this in the last episode, and I am gladly going to do it again this episode. A lot of people wait for things to get really, really bad and unbearable before they admit that they need to talk to someone or they need help. But I don't see that as a good idea. Therapy is a tool that we can utilize before things get bad. We can avoid so much hurt and so much pain by taking action before it's necessarily required. People also say that therapy is for crazy people or weak people. And like I just said, it's not. It is a sign of strength. There is nothing wrong with you wanting to figure out how to control your emotions. All of us have them. And all of us should learn how to control them rather than to avoid them, because so many of us just avoid our emotions. And by so many of us, I mean me. I avoid my emotions like a crazy person. And therapy has taught me that you don't need to do that. Now, when I say that I genuinely love BetterHelp, I mean it. This isn't just some ad where I'm like, yeah, you need to go do this because of this, and then I ramble on a bunch of stuff. My friends have personally used BetterHelp, and it has changed their life. And therapy also changed my life. And I'm not just exaggerating. I'm not being dramatic. I'm being serious. Even if I'm happy and I'm supposed to have therapy, I'm still going to go. And you know what? I'm going to talk about my happiness because it's just as important to talk about your happiness as it is to talk about your sadness. So BetterHelp is customized online therapy that offers video, phone, and even live chat sessions with your therapist, so you don't even have to see anyone on camera if you don't want to. It's all about you. Also, I promise you, it's much more affordable than in-person therapy, and you'll be matched with a therapist in under 48 hours. You really can't go wrong with that. So if you want, I want you to give it a try, and you will understand why 2 million people have used BetterHelp online therapy. And again, this podcast is sponsored by BetterHelp, and Moments listeners can get 10% off their first month at BetterHelp. That's betterhelp.com/moments. And I'll spell it out for you. That's BetterHelp.com/moments. Seriously, you guys, I just want you to consider it. And if you're open to trying new things this year, don't be afraid to give it a shot. No one's forcing you to love it. No one's forcing you to stick with it. But I am telling you that you should try new things. It's actually the next thing on my list. This year, it's important for me to do new things because I get a little caught up in my comfort zone, and I think a lot of us do because we fear uncertainty. We fear the unknown. And I'll have phases where I do so many unknown things and so much crazy stuff, and then moments where I go right back into my old habits where I want to cocoon myself up in this little shell and do what I'm comfortable doing and do what I know works. But it's so much more fun and thrilling, and the adrenaline really gets going when you do something that you've never done before. So do new things. Life doesn't have to be so consistently scheduled and perfect. I promise you. That being said, my next New Year's resolution, I guess this is more of a goal, but it's to plan my documentary. And if you guys have known me for a while or been listening to me for a while, I've been thinking about this documentary for about a year now. I want to create something so incredible, so professionally filmed, all around the world. And I just want it to be this mind-opening video that when you finish watching it, first of all, you have chills, you might be crying, you feel amazed. It just makes you feel like you can accomplish anything and everything. And that's what I want it to make you feel. So that's what I'm going to plan this year. And I want to start filming it in either 2023 or 2024. And I know, it sounds like that's really far away. But first of all, time flies. Second of all, I want this to be the coolest thing in the whole world. And I'm going to work so hard to make that happen. And I want to do it the right way. And I just have to be patient. So wait for it, you guys. This documentary is going to blow your mind. And I believe it. I truly believe that will happen. Next thing I have written down is just to inspire people. Whether that's through becoming the best version of myself, or inspiring people to travel, or inspiring people to learn to love themselves, or inspiring people to just believe in themselves. I don't know how I do it or how I'm going to do it, but I'm going to make it happen. And I think that we are all capable of inspiring people, and we should all make that a goal. By living through the best version of yourself, by living through the person that you want to become and the person that you are, you will inspire people without even realizing it. I have been inspired by so many people, just seeing them laugh and just seeing them be happy and just seeing them be content and at peace with what goes on in their life. Be that person, because not only does it feel good for you, but it helps other people. And I think we all should focus on helping other people just a little bit. The world needs that right now. I also want to travel this year. I want to save my money. I want to buy a new van. You guys, you know this whole van drama has been absolutely insane. And I'm so grateful that you guys have been so supportive and so kind throughout this whole process, because I know I keep tricking you guys. I'm like, I bought a van, I'm going to do this. And then something happens and it just never goes through. Someone literally commented on my TikTok. It was like, New Year's resolution, wake up at 6 a.m., slept in on January 1st. It was really funny because they comment, well, you don't see anything through anyways. And I'm like, okay, you're kind of right. It's part of who I am. I'm not mad about it. It is something I'm working on, but it just made me laugh. I didn't really take it as something negative. I just thought it was funny. So a New Year's resolution this year is to actually follow things through and actually see things through. But I honestly blame that on my Enneagram type. If you guys haven't taken the Enneagram test, it's super fun. It's all your different personalities. There's 9 of them. So I'm a 7, which is the enthusiast, which basically means I have a squirrel brain and I get sick of things really fast. So I'm always working on something new. And if you guys have followed me for a while, you've seen that firsthand. Anyways, not even part of what I'm talking about. Trust the process, you guys. Trust the process. And another thing I want you to take away from this, first thing I said was journaling. The next thing I'm going to say is reading. Getting into books is so awesome. Not just self-help books or self-growth books, but even fiction books. They give you a chance to escape your mind. And we all need to do that sometimes. Our brains are so cluttered, like so extremely cluttered, and I don't know how we manage to clutter them up so much, but we do. So read a book. You will escape a lot of the negative feelings that you might find yourself feeling. And if you get a good book, if you really, really immerse yourself, you will notice how much fun it is to read. You get to live like this whole different world and this whole different life in your own bedroom. And if you guys want me to give you like a fiction book list and a self-help book list of books I've read and enjoy, let me know because I will gladly do it. There's a couple on my Instagram story highlight if you go to reads. But anyways, I'll make a book recommendation list, a TED Talk recommendation list at a later date. More things for you to take away from this episode. Do not believe that you need to change who you are. I'm going to say that again. Do not believe that you need to change who you are. You can believe that there is room for growth, that you can evolve who you are. But you don't need to change who you are. You are made to be the person that you are right now. You are made to have all of these experiences. God is handing them to you for a reason. And if you don't believe in God, that's totally fine. The universe is. Whoever you believe in, whoever you believe is like the higher power, they're taking care of you. They're giving you these obstacles so that you can learn from them. Don't fear failure. Fearing failure is only going to hold you back. If you view life a certain way, you begin to believe that there's no such thing as failure. And I don't know what it is that made that click in my mind, and so I don't really know how to explain it, but there's no such thing as failure because everything is on this path for a reason. And you know, when I listen back to myself sometimes, I'm like, dude, you sound crazy. Obviously there's failure. Obviously there's bad things in life. Obviously shitty things are going to happen. Sorry about my language again. And I'm not saying, like, don't take this too literally. Things are going to happen in life that are going to suck. And sometimes you're going to fail. But what I really mean is that you're going to be able to get back up, and years down the road, it's not going to feel like so much of a failure. I felt like I just needed to make that clear because, yes, I'm kind of a delusional optimist, but I'm not like some crazy person who believes the whole world is perfect by any means. But I do like to try to focus on the parts that are perfect, so that's why I sound a little bit crazy. If I sound crazy, I don't even know. Anyways, make life a freaking movie, okay? This is your world. Everyone else is just living in it. You are the main character. I always see people comment like, main character energy, or you're the main character. We're all the main character of our own movie. We get to choose the side characters. We get to choose the extras. That's what you're in control of. Okay, direct your movie the way that you want to direct it. Do you want it to be some sad, depressing movie? No. You want it to be something incredible. So know that, okay? You're the director. You're the main character. You are all of the above. You choose the plot. Just saying. Now believe in yourself. Even if no one else does, you're going to believe in yourself. I don't care what anyone else has to say. You're going to believe in yourself. I'll say it again. You are going to believe in yourself. End of story. There's no, but what if you, no. Believe in yourself. And I want you to just accept all that this year has to offer. I want you to no, that's not what I was going for. I want you to accept everything that comes at you with open arms. I don't care if a massive boulder is coming right at your face. Accept it with open arms. Know that there's going to be good, there's going to be bad, there's going to be beautiful, ugly, and it's all going to be part of it. And the year's going to come to an end at the end of 2022, and you're going to be like, I'm so glad I experienced all of that. But don't wait until then to feel that. Feel it now. Feel it as you go. This is going to be a good year. And you are going to be in control of your mindset this year, okay? Okay. It all starts with you. It starts in your mind. You are capable of anything that you can imagine. Every version of yourself is teaching you something. And you're going to be grateful for all of it. This year, we're going to appreciate, we're going to experience, and we're just going to love. We're going to love. Anyways, I'm going to end on that note, but I want you to know that I love you so very much. I am so grateful for you. I would not be here without you. You guys get me through my hardest days. Again, it's something I say every time because it's true. It's seriously so true. And I'm always here for you. I really am. I'm always thinking of you. But I want to say thank you guys for listening to this episode. And every episode, if this is the first one you've listened to, or if you've listened to all of them, I love you all the same. And thank you. We are going to make 2022 the best year ever. Okay? I love you guys. Thank you for listening to the Moments Podcast. We will talk again next Monday. I hope you have a very, very good day, and you're amazing. Okay, bye.